The Volari Dominion had always considered themselves untouchable. Their fleets stretched across 1,000 systems, their language forced upon subject species like chains of obedience. When the Dominion's high strategist ordered the pacification of a remote colony on the edge of human space, he expected it to be routine. Another example carved into history of Volari superiority. The colony of New Avalon had no warships, no defenses beyond orbital platforms, and a token garrison. Its people were farmers, scientists, children. When the Dominion fleet arrived, their flagship opened fire without preamble. Homes evaporated in atomic fire. Oceans boiled as fusion lances scythed through the land. Cities were reduced to glass in minutes. Volari soldiers landed to mop up survivors, striding arrogantly across ruined streets. They recorded themselves executing unarmed civilians, mocking human pleas for mercy in their broadcasts to the galaxy. They crucified the colony's envoy and transmitted his death agonies on every open channel. Their commander's message was clear. Humanity is weak. Humanity is soft. Humanity is broken. The Dominion expected silence in return. They expected a whimper, not a scream. They were wrong. The laughter of arrogance. In the aftermath, the Volari fleet celebrated. On their capital world, their nobles dined while holographic recordings of New Avalon's burning played as entertainment. Children of Volari aristocrats laughed at human screams, mimicking their cries as though they were theater. Commentators on Dominion channels declared humanity finished. A species too enamored with trade, peace, and exploration to risk war against a power like theirs. "We cut off one of their limbs," one Volari strategist sneered. "The beast will limp. It will not bite." Across the stars, other species watched with unease but resigned acceptance. The Volari had done this countless times. They crushed resistance before it grew. Humanity, young and unblooded compared to the ancient empires, was expected to endure its humiliation and return to farming, to building, to pretending strength. The galaxy whispered that Earth would bow, that Earth must bow, that humanity, fragile and broken, would never raise its head again. The silence. Before the storm, for a time, the galaxy's predictions seemed correct. Earth was silent, its colonies did not respond, its fleets did not move. Only the funerary transmissions of New Avalon's destruction were played across human systems, replayed over and over, each time the screams sharper, each time the silence that followed heavier. But within that silence, something shifted. Old words were remembered, ancient oaths, battle hymns, songs once sung on fields soaked with blood back on Earth. Humanity had never been strangers to loss. Empires had tried before to shatter them. Every time, the broken pieces had reformed into something sharper. Whispers spread among the colonies. The dead were not forgotten. Soldiers volunteered in numbers so vast recruitment centers overflowed. Factories shifted in secret, no longer producing tools of peace but weapons of war. Old war machines, once mothballed in museums, were reforged. New engines of destruction were born in orbital shipyards that pulsed like volcanic furnaces. The galaxy dismissed these preparations as human mourning rituals. But then the silence broke. The day the Earth roared without warning, a human transmission cut across the galaxy's comms. It was short, stripped of ceremony, delivered in a voice like cold iron. "We have heard your laughter, we have buried our dead, and now we rise." On that day, the skies over Earth darkened as fleets ignited. Dreadnoughts the size of mountains slid from dry docks, their hulls etched with names of the fallen. Carriers emerged with wings of strike craft, each painted with memorials to New Avalon. Columns of soldiers marched onto troop ships, silent, eyes forward, as if already walking through eternity. Other species watched in horror as thousands of human warships departed Sol. They had not believed Earth capable of such power. They had underestimated how quickly humanity could forge nightmares when wounded. The Volari laughed at the mobilization, dismissing it as futile. But their laughter faltered when the first human warnings arrived. Intercepted transmissions carried only 2 words, repeated with icy calm across Volari space. "We're coming." The storm that fell upon them. The retaliation began with the outermost Volari systems. Human fleets descended like storms of iron, blotting out stars. Their arrival was not heralded by negotiation or mercy. Orbital defenses were torn apart in seconds. Shipyards blossomed into fire. Garrisons were wiped out to the last soldier. Volari civilians watched in stunned silence as human warships ignored their pleas for surrender, striking with surgical fury against military and ruling targets. Humanity did not seek conquest. Humanity sought justice, and justice was merciless. Broken soldiers, Men and women scarred from earlier wars, veterans of Earth's forgotten conflicts, now led the charge. Their armor bore scars, their bodies carried wounds, but their spirits burned hotter than any sun. They fought like beings resurrected from humanity's darkest wars, fighting with the fury of every massacre endured by their ancestors. Valari fleets tried to resist, but human tactics were brutal and unrelenting. Swarms of drones overwhelmed defenses. Rail cannons split capital ships in half with single volleys. Boarding parties breached hulls, storming corridors with fire and steel, unstoppable even when outnumbered. Human soldiers fought as though pain meant nothing, as though death itself had been exiled from their ranks. For every life lost, 10 more rose behind them, voices unified in one cry. For New Avalon, the breaking of the Dominion as system after system fell, the Valari arrogance shattered. Their commanders, once drunk with confidence, now screamed in desperation as reports arrived. Fleets annihilated, armies routed, worlds lost. Entire Valari sectors went dark, their communications cut by human jammers before orbital bombardments turned once proud cities into seas of fire. Refugees fled inward, carrying tales of human vengeance. Fleets that blotted out the sky, soldiers who fought like revenants, dreadnoughts whose broadsides made stars tremble. The high strategist who had ordered New Avalon's destruction attempted to rally his forces. He boasted that the Dominion had crushed greater foes, that humanity was just another upstart. But when his flagship fell, its wreckage broadcast across every Valari channel, his empire knew the truth. This was not a war. This was an execution, and Earth would not stop until the Dominion was dust. Retribution made flesh. The climax came with the siege of the Valari homeworld. Human fleets encircled it, their silhouettes blotting out the system's sun. For 3 days, they waited, their silence heavier than any threat. The Valari begged for negotiation, offered tribute, pleaded for mercy. None came. On the 4th day, the bombardment began. It was not swift, it was deliberate, a hammer falling blow by blow. Orbital fortresses crumbled. Defense fleets were incinerated, cities below burned, their once proud spires reduced to rivers of molten glass. Then the soldiers came. Drop pods fell like a meteor storm, striking the surface with thunderous impact. Broken veterans emerged, leading waves of armored infantry. They marched through burning streets, weapons roaring, unstoppable as tidal waves. The Valari tried to resist. They were slaughtered. The high strategist was dragged from his bunker by human soldiers, bound in chains forged from the wreckage of his own warships. He begged for mercy. He found none. His execution was broadcast on the same frequencies where he once mocked the dying screams of New Avalon. Humanity made certain every species heard his final breath. The silence. After when it was over, the Valari Dominion was gone. Their fleets were ash, their leaders dead, their homeworld a ruin. What remained of their people lived only under the shadow of Earth's mercy. A mercy earned not by pleading, but by submission. The galaxy trembled. No longer did they whisper of humanity's softness. Now they whispered of humanity's patience and of its vengeance. Species who once mocked Earth now avoided its gaze. Empires that had dreamed of conquest abandoned such thoughts forever. For the galaxy had seen what happened when humans were provoked. They had seen broken soldiers rise, carrying their dead upon their shoulders, rewriting history not with diplomacy or compromise, but with unstoppable defiance. In the ashes of the Valari, a single phrase passed between every survivor, spoken in fear and reverence: never provoke Earth again. And so the galaxy learned a truth it would never forget. Humanity's silence is vast, but their vengeance is infinite.